You know that feeling, don't you? You wake up suddenly, the room is still pitch black, and you glance at the clock. It's 3 a.m. That hour feels different, a strange mix of quiet solitude and a nagging sense of, why am I awake? It's an experience far more common than you might think, reported by countless people across cultures and continents. For centuries, this particular hour has held a certain mystique, sometimes labeled the witching hour or a time of heightened spiritual awareness. But beyond the folklore, there's a fascinating evidence-based story behind why our bodies often choose this specific time to rouse us from slumber. Today, we're going to explore the compelling reasons behind those 3 a.m. wake-ups, and more importantly, what we can do to find our way back to restful sleep. Let's start with what's happening inside our bodies, because a lot of these awakenings are simply our biology at work. One key player is a hormone called cortisol, often referred to as our stress hormone. Now, cortisol naturally begins to rise between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. It's your body's gentle alarm clock, preparing you to wake up in a few hours. But if you're already under a lot of stress or anxiety, this natural surge can become a sudden jolt, pulling you out of sleep prematurely. Then there are our sleep cycles themselves. Throughout the night, we cycle through different stages of sleep. In the second half of the night, which includes that 3 a.m. window, we spend more time in lighter sleep stages, particularly rapid eye movement or REM sleep. Think of it like being in a shallow pool rather than deep water. You're just more easily disturbed and more likely to wake up fully. Our internal body clock or circadian rhythm also plays a crucial role. This rhythm dictates our sleep-wake cycle, and sometimes it can get a little out of sync. For example, some people have what's called advanced sleep phase disorder, where their body clock simply runs earlier, causing them to feel sleepy much earlier in the evening and wake up earlier in the morning. And speaking of internal rhythms, your melatonin levels, the hormone that helps you sleep, are typically high in the middle of the night, but start to dip in the early morning, again, preparing you for wakefulness. Another often overlooked factor is blood sugar fluctuations. If you had an early dinner, or perhaps your diet wasn't quite balanced, a drop in blood sugar during the night can trigger your body to wake up. It's a survival mechanism, alerting you to a potential need for energy. And as we age, our sleep architecture changes. We naturally spend less time in deep sleep, making us more susceptible to waking. This can be compounded by other age-related factors, like needing to use the restroom more frequently, a condition called nocturia, or dealing with chronic health issues and anxiety. Hormonal changes, especially for women experiencing menopause, with hot flashes and night sweats, can also be significant sleep disruptors. Beyond what's happening inside, our environment has a huge impact. Even a sliver of light from a street lamp, your alarm clock, or worse, your phone, can signal to your brain that it's daytime, interfering with your sleep hormones. Noise, too, can be a culprit. Traffic, a neighbor, or even a snoring partner can easily pull you out of lighter sleep. And then there's temperature. Our bodies need a cool environment to sleep optimally, ideally between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. An uncomfortable room, whether too hot or too cold, can make it difficult to stay asleep. And of course, the need to urinate, especially if you drink a lot of fluids close to bedtime, is a very common reason to wake up.
Our daily habits, often referred to as sleep hygiene, also play a massive role. Things like staring at screens before bed, consuming caffeine or alcohol late in the day, eating large or spicy meals too close to bedtime, smoking, having an inconsistent sleep schedule, or not getting enough physical activity during the day, all of these can contribute to fragmented sleep. Perhaps the most common modern culprits are psychological factors. Stress, anxiety, and depression are huge contributors. When your mind is racing with worries or unresolved thoughts, it's incredibly difficult for your brain to stay in a state of deep rest. This can also lead to something called conditioned insomnia, where your brain actually learns to wake up at a certain time, almost anticipating it, creating a vicious cycle. Sometimes, waking up at 3 a.m. can be a symptom of an underlying medical condition. Insomnia itself, particularly sleep maintenance insomnia, which is difficulty staying asleep, is a primary cause. Other disorders like obstructive sleep apnea, where your breathing repeatedly stops and starts, or chronic pain, cardiovascular problems, and even certain medications can all disrupt your sleep patterns. If you suspect any of these, it's always best to consult a healthcare professional. Now, I want to briefly touch on the other side of this conversation. Beyond the scientific explanations, there are many cultural and spiritual interpretations of waking up at 3 a.m. Some traditions view it as a time when the veil between worlds thins, a moment for heightened spiritual activity, prayer, reflection, or even receiving guidance. While these perspectives offer comfort or meaning to some, it's important to understand that from a scientific standpoint, these awakenings are firmly rooted in biological, environmental, and psychological processes. Our focus here is on understanding those evidence-based factors to help you get better sleep. Now, I want to briefly touch on the other side of this conversation. Beyond the scientific explanations, there are many cultural and spiritual interpretations of waking up at 3 a.m. Some traditions view it as a time when the veil between worlds thins, a moment for heightened spiritual activity, prayer, reflection, or even receiving guidance. While these perspectives offer comfort or meaning to some, it's important to understand that from a scientific standpoint, these awakenings are firmly rooted in biological, environmental, and psychological processes. Our focus here is on understanding those evidence-based factors to help you get better sleep. This brings us to a key question. When is waking up at 3 a.m. a problem? It's completely normal to have brief awakenings during the night. We all do. The concern arises when these awakenings become frequent, say more than 3 nights a week for over a month, or if they're prolonged, lasting 30 minutes or more, and especially if they lead to daytime fatigue, impaired functioning, or distress. If this sounds like you, it's a clear signal to seek professional advice. So, what helps? The good news is there's a lot you can do. Let's focus on a holistic approach. First, optimize your sleep environment. Make your bedroom a sanctuary, dark, quiet, and cool. Block out light, use earplugs if needed, and aim for that ideal temperature range. Second, refine your lifestyle choices. Establish a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends. Limit screens an hour before bed. Be mindful of caffeine and alcohol, especially in the afternoon and evening. Avoid heavy meals close to bedtime, and make sure you're getting regular physical activity, but not too close to sleep. Third, address psychological factors. If stress and anxiety are keeping you awake, consider practicing mindfulness, meditation, or journaling before bed. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI, is a highly effective evidence-based approach that can retrain your brain for better sleep. And if you do find yourself awake at 3 a.m., try this. Instead of getting frustrated, don't look at the clock. If you can't fall back asleep within 15-20 minutes, get out of bed. Go to another dimly lit room, do something quiet and calming like reading a physical book, no screens, or gentle stretching, and only return to bed when you feel sleepy again. This helps break the cycle of conditioned insomnia.
Finally, and this is important, don't hesitate to seek professional help. If your 3 a.m. awakenings are frequent, prolonged, or impacting your daily life, a sleep medicine specialist or a therapist specializing in sleep can help diagnose any underlying issues and provide targeted, evidence-based interventions. This isn't just about quick fixes. It's about sustainable, restful sleep. Waking up at 3 a.m. can feel frustrating and isolating, but remember, it's a widely shared experience with understandable roots. By understanding the physiological, environmental, and psychological factors at play, and by making conscious choices about our sleep habits, we can reclaim our nights and wake up feeling refreshed and ready for the day ahead. Wishing you peaceful and restorative sleep.